Okay, tinfoil hat time, everybody. The rocks are alive, and they're taking control of their own destiny. Or so we think. The Infinity Stones have been the beating heart of the MCU for a long time, with everyone wanting to get their hands on them. But have we considered that the stones may have some opinions of where they would like to be? Seems like the agency of these cosmic materials have been taken for granted. Now in a new timeline, the stones may not be so keen to leave their fate up to chance. Time to grab life by the wheel, or just hold on to the nearest god of mischief and see where you happen to end up. Let's see if this theory checks out, shall we? Exhibit A, Loki and the Tesseract. Before we get too far in, massive credits to the Reddit user The Mediocre Critic. Their thread is the original inspiration for this theory. Well done, well done. So here's the basic setup. During our time heist, the case for the Tesseract gets knocked to the ground at the end of the Battle of New York. The Infinity Stone then slides across the ground directly to the feet of our favorite god of mischief, who then makes a swift exit. Bye! This is a fun bit of Rube Goldberg antics with a convenient result, but what if this is no accident? The Tesseract didn't just happen to land at the feet of the one person who needed a speedy getaway. The stone and Loki have one thing in common. They wanted the heck out of there. This Infinity Stone, as well as Loki, would both be destroyed by Thanos in a future timeline. This daring escape was an excellent way to change the future from the get-go in a way that benefits both parties. So how does the Space Stone go about landing precisely where it wants? Well, it's the Space Stone. Its power is to warp the environment, and it can teleport beings to other worlds. And that's just the tip of what it can do. Theoretically, it could shift over a little, just to make sure the second son of Odin could scoop it up and take his leave, whisking away the Space Stone with him. A big question to answer before we can give this theory a big green check mark is, are the stones actually sentient? Is the Space Stone its own being with some type of innate foresight? Or is this intergalactic weapon just flying by the seat of its metaphorical pants? A lot of evidence in the MCU and Marvel comic universes give us some good reason to believe that the stones may be thinking beings on their own. The Tesseract is the golden example of this, having so many appearances throughout the MCU. Eric Selvig works with the stone for extended periods of time leading up to and during the Avengers. The Tesseract seems to have quite an effect on Dr. Selvig, as he claims the stone talks to him, even going so far as to call the stone she. Arguments could be made for Loki's influence being the reason for these beliefs, but nothing ever contradicts the idea that the stone itself is doing a fair amount of talking. The first Avenger also gives us some events that could be called coincidence or point further to the stone's awareness. The Red Skull is teleported away to another planet in order to protect the Soul Stone. Didn't seem like he intended on going there, huh? Or even teleporting away in the first place. I mean, look at his face, dude is shocked. The stone decided for him, burning through the hull of the plane after to complete its escape. Touching the Tesseract does not always result in instant teleportation. Characters such as Loki himself have held the item without a sudden journey across the universe. The Tesseract also hadn't been shown to burn through surfaces on the regular either. These instances were unique, giving further evidence that the Space Stone may have a bit more free will than we may have previously thought. These events, while pretty solid in evidence, are not perfect. Thus we turn to the comics for some answers. In the 2019 installment of the Infinity Wars, Adam Warlock asserts his power over a new set of stones, making the Soul Stone grant some of its sentience to the others. This reborn multiverse ensures the stones can choose their own fate and hosts. Though we have no Adam Warlock storylines in the MCU quite at the moment, this concept lines up very well with the theory. And even if the Tesseract didn't stay with Loki, it sure knew that he was the fastest way out of the old timeline. So where does this leave us? There is a bit of contention to the theory, as Thanos never said he destroyed the stones, just that he reduced them to atoms. Since the stones were not technically destroyed, there's no need for self-preservation. Plus, Marvel did confirm the stones were destroyed in an Instagram post as well. Now the Tesseract is out there, seeming to have abandoned Loki before he landed and got picked up by Owen Wilson and the TVA. The Space Stone has no real control over time travel, just on location, so it may take a back seat in this adventure. Whether or not the stone decides to make an appearance seems to be up to them. We just have to hope they have the universe's best interests in mind. The fate of the Tesseract is currently unknown, but so is the Cask of Ancient Winters thanks to Loki's escape. Let's hope we see more of these powerful relics. And before we go, one final shout out to the Mediocre Critic on Reddit for the original post that inspired this video.